Hello. Hi, Gray. First moved? That's weird. It shouldn't have. Can you give me an audio check? Can you hear me? Can you hear the game? Are we good to go? I'm streaming today because I am meeting up with a friend on Saturday, so I don't think I'll be able to stream. I may be a bit quiet. It might be because I just finished eating and I had something spicy again because I'm smart. So, the voice may not be up to par today in terms of voice acting, but we're gonna see how it goes. No way being social, I know. I know. I was tempted with cats. We're going to a cat cafe. How are you doing though? Hopefully all is well. Hanyuu? Hanyuu? Are you there? No answer. I was too afraid to call out again. Because maybe if I did, I still wouldn't get any answer. For me personally, Hanyuu not existing in this world was the one dice roll that couldn't happen. Hanyuu. Just deep cleaned my room so I smell like cleaning chemicals? Dang! What inspired you? It's a good thing though. Cleaning is important. Hanyuu! Then I felt something I couldn't describe. The presence of someone, but not a person. Something only I could perceive. The presence of Hanyuu. But Hanyuu always answered me when I called for her. Slept in until like 1:30 because I could, and then went, okay, I need to lock in and be productive. I respect it. Also couldn't walk in my room, it was a wreck. Dang. But it happens. That's good though. I'm proud of you. I need to finish cleaning my room. I have to do it in like short bursts. I did a little bit. Like I did my shelf and my drawers semi-recently. I think it was like 2 weeks ago maybe. But I have more drawers to clean. I've got a corner full of boxes that I need to go through. I don't want to think about what's in my closet. So much stuff. So much stuff. Yeah, boxes. Because, like, I think a lot of it is stuff that I brought back from school. So, like, a lot of art supplies and stuff. But, like, not art supplies that I would use normally. It's been years, yeah. I went through it once when Pero was going to school, like for the first time, since she's also doing art, and I was like, hey, I have some stuff. So I went through it then and I gave her a bunch of it, but there's still a lot left that I should go through, but I'm lazy. Graphic design major SMH, that's what I'm saying. Imagine not doing fine arts. No, she's taking some fine arts classes though. She's doing sculpture this year, and I think painting next sem, maybe something like that. So some stuff is there, so she could take some of it. I kept my printmaking stuff though, just in case, because I am a hoarder and I like my printmaking stuff. She wasn't now. What did that mean? But she was here. She was. I couldn't help poking my head through the roof. I climbed down a bundle of hanging chains and entered. Hanyuu! Hanyuu! Where are you? Answer me! Rika! Rika! Where are you? This time I heard her for sure. There was no doubt. Forget non-art schools just have boring fine arts. I revel in my illustration-only classes. Yeah, sounds nice. Yeah. I mean, I think some schools have more than just fine arts. Like, they have graphic design. My school did not have a graphic design course, which I thought was wild. But, so it goes. Hanyuu, I'm right here. Where are you? I can't see you at all. Rika, Rika, answer me. Hanyuu's feeble words implied she was actually the one who couldn't hear my voice. I looked for a place where I could hear her better. Before I realized it, I went to the altar in front of the holy vessel. That feels odd. Graphic design is a good way to get your school stats of people who get jobs post-graduate. I know! I also thought it was really weird. They didn't have it at all. The closest thing they did was, they added it's called DNID. It's like Digital Narrative and Interactive Design, I think. They added that the year I enrolled, right? So it was like a completely new major. But that was it. It was that, and it was fine art. Yeah. Ew. Yeah, I think a lot of coding was involved in that, so I was like, no thanks. Sounds cool, except for the coding part. Me and coding don't get along. Something that looked like a small crystal ball was on the altar, and I sensed it giving off a faint light. That was where Hanyuu's voice seemed to be coming from. The ball was about the size of a large toy marble. As you took a whole coding class instead. That was instead of stat, and that was a mistake. That was a genuine mistake. I should not have done that. But it was seated respectfully on a small cushion, which told me it was no ordinary stone. I took the crystal ball in my hand and pressed it to my ear. Rika, if you can hear me, please answer again. Rika! Rika! There was no doubt. I was hearing Hanyuu's voice from this crystal ball, and it sounded like it was searching for me, growing more distant all the while. Hanyuu, I can hear you. It's me, Rika. I'm right here. Rika, Rika, I can hear your voice. Where are you? I can't find you. Bro got turned into a bead? Real. Your voice is so distant. I don't understand. Please, call louder. I'm here. I'm right here. Why can I hear your voice from this crystal ball? Wait, no. That's not important. I'm right here. Right in front of the altar in the storehouse. Hanyuu! Hanyuu! I can hear your voice. I'm searching for you now. Please don't let go of the fragment. Keep on calling my name. Louder. I'm here. Hanyuu. Come, hurry. Hanyuu. Hanyuu. For a while, I kept shouting her name as if I'd gone mad. It was like clinging to a tin can telephone right before the string snapped. If Hanyuu's voice cut off in the middle, if she left me behind, alone, in the darkness of the storehouse, that was scarier than anything else I could imagine. So as she told me to, I shouted her name over and over again. Hanyuu had to be searching for me by listening for my voice. I didn't know what her situation was, but it seemed Hanyuu and I were far away from one another, that we were immeasurably distant. As the crystal ball's light strengthened, I knew she was coming closer. At first, the light I sensed from it had been faint, but now it was bright as a weak miniature light bulb, and I could clearly see it was shining. Rika, what's going on? I can't enter the world you're in. What? What are you saying? I'm the one who needs help here. I don't care how, just come here. Take me out of this world. Rika, please listen carefully. For some reason, your world rejects me. This should be impossible. Given that she's both a paranormal existence and a deity, I couldn't imagine any situation that would make her anxious enough for her to weakly say, this is impossible. All I could do was keep on wailing half insanely for her to do something. Anything. But I can't do anything. Oh. This is the first time. This is impossible. Stop acting so miserable and hurry up and do something already. Anything. I can't, Rika. Your world is giving off a power that rejects me. If you don't do something about that, there's nothing I can do. Stop saying things that don't make sense. What do you mean a power that rejects you? You're a deity. That can't be. You're right. It can't be. But there's no fragment on this side, so I can't line up the pieces. I don't know how, but the fragment is lost somewhere in your world. Fragment? What do you mean? Explain it so I understand. I'll do anything I can. Continuing to act so deranged won't help me with anything. I managed to figure out what Hanyuu wanted to say, and now I knew I had to eliminate the obstacle. The situation utterly escaped me, but it seemed like if I didn't do something, Hanyuu couldn't appear in front of me. I'm sorry for losing my composure. I'll calm down now, so explain again, please. What on earth is going on?
Rika, I don't know why this is, but part of a fragment, which should be in the world of the gods, seems to be lost in the world you're in right now. As an analogy, it's like the key you need to unlock a door being locked inside that room.
What's a fragment?
What appears as the world to you is called a fragment in the higher dimensions. We've been connecting those fragments like a jigsaw puzzle to walk between worlds.
I see. I think I understand the analogy. The world I'm in now is a fragment, a piece of a jigsaw puzzle. But something happened to the part that connects it to the rest and it won't fit with the pieces around it, right?
That's right. That missing piece always has to be on this side. But now, for some reason, it's on that side instead.
The fragments should be in the world of the gods, but for some reason it fell into the human world and now it's missing?
That's about right. Oh.
Alright, I just have to do something about that fragment, right? I'll do what you say. Where is that fragment? And what should I do with it?
Oh.
Is this really the time to be owing? Where's the fragment thing? And what does it look like?
I don't know.
What? How am I supposed to search for it if you don't know?
I don't understand either. From here I can only hear your voice. I can't interfere at all with that world as I am now.
But if it's called a fragment, then will it look like a glowing piece of crystal like this?
Here, we gotta yeet my laundry to the dryer. I zoomed to Miss Minimal Lore. Oh yeah, take your time, no rush. I think that's probably right. But I can't even imagine what shape it would take if something that belonged in a higher dimension ended up in the human world. The Magatamas.
I felt all my energy drain out of me and I heaved a sigh. We don't even know what it looks like. This is the worst. Anyway, if I do find it, what would I do? How would I get it back into the world of the gods?
Oh.
You don't even know that?
Sorry. It's the first time this has happened. I don't really know either.
I laughed, mostly at myself, and before I realized it, I couldn't stop my tears from falling. After getting sent to this crazy world, I don't even know how to get back. Today, of all days, I was in such high spirits going to the pool with my friends. That tiny fragment of happy days we'd all finally obtained after escaping the dead end of June 1983. And just because I was messing around on the way back, just a little, I got sent to this horrible world. But if I'm going to complain about that, in the end, it's my own fault for not being careful on the road, isn't it?
Oh.
I lost my balance on my bicycle, got thrown off, and then fell into the car there. A common traffic accident. A common death of a child. It just happened to be me this time. The future I'd won after over 100 years. Now, just because of that, everything was in pieces. I could wail all I want, but the only thing at fault was my own carelessness. In fact, I should be thankful to Hanyuu for letting me live. But sending me to a world like this, it's too cruel. No, it wasn't as though Hanyuu sent me here because she wanted to. I know that.
It's like you remember, Rika. Our power has been wearing away, and with the last of that power, we reached our victory. So we were never supposed to be able to use it again.
You mean you used that power to save me?
Yes. There was nothing else I could do. Rika, your body flew off your bike, and if the dice had come up better, you might have fallen on the car and made it out injured but alive. But you were unlucky, and when you flew off, you landed right in front of the car's tires.
From Hanyuu's words colored with sadness, it felt like she'd watched me fly off, get run over by the car, and die.
Everyone had their mouths wide open, in a daze. The car's brakes screeched as it crashed into the guardrail, but nobody was listening. And then, Satoko. She ran over to you, but you looked...
Oh gosh, sorry.
Oh. Her face was gone.
The car crushed my head flat. She was always talking about this, wasn't she? Never to play in the road. Oh, sorry. I'm suddenly so sneezy. I could imagine the rest of the story without Hanyuu telling me. That fun day we had was wiped out in an instant by my careless fooling around. We dove together into the longest June 19th, 1983 of these past 100 years. And the peaceful future we finally reached through the sharing of countless miracles was wiped out in an instant. My corpse was too horrible to look at. Satoko came running over first, and then everyone else came. They all wished they'd wake up from that nightmare, until they all lost hope, broke down, and wept. Compared to that heart-splitting sadness, the one who was actually careless, grumbling about wanting to go home since this world... The one who was actually careless, grumbling about wanting to go home since this world was uncomfortable, counted for nothing. Did that mean, in the end, it was all my own fault? I'd struggled through so many years to reach that future, and I'd carelessly lost it by nobody's fault but my own. And I was blessed since Hanyuu was here for me, so I should be thankful. Because if that had happened to someone other than me, they'd just lose their life and nothing more. Just the fact that there was hope, even if it was only a single, tiny ray, surely meant I was fortunate. Thanks.
Oh?
Idiots die in accidents from carelessness all the time in Japan, and I was one of them. I should have just died without complaints, but thanks to you, even though things have gotten strange, I'm alive. You're out of breath? Welcome back. Sorry, I had to mute because I was about to sneeze. I'm very sneezy today and I don't know why. But welcome back. We just learned that Hanyuu used the rest of her power to save Rika and send her to another world after she got literally crushed by the car. As in, like, her head got run over by the tires. That is what you missed. So now we know. Yeah. They're so mean for this. They're so mean. How dare they? How dare they? I'm sure it'll be really, really hard, but there is still a way to return to that world.
No.
Let's review. To bring me back to the original world, Hanyuu, you need to come here, right?
Yes, of course. I want to return to the original world with you, Rika.
Naturally. We won that world out after over 100 years of struggle. We're going back. I would spend another 100 years to do it. I won't lose. I won't lose heart. Just for fooling around a little on the road and being sentenced to another 100 years. That won't make me cry.
Rika, even in the world beyond, everyone is praying for you. They're praying that, even if it cost them their lives, that you would turn back time and make it so the accident never happened. I think those prayers were why I was able to find you, Rika.
In this storehouse, in which I could only smell dust, I thought I caught the scent of incense. I couldn't see it, couldn't hear it, but somehow I knew. It was my funeral, and I thought I could hear them. My friends' heartbroken grieving over my coffin. Their cries were incredibly sad, so painful, as though it would tear me apart. I understood. My carelessness. It had destroyed not only my life, but everyone else's happiness. I'll go I'm going back. I will return to that world no matter what. Ugh. No matter how narrow the path may be, I'll do it. I'll go back for sure. My tears, filled with sadness mixed with determination, mixed with saltiness, dropped to the floor.
Rika, being locked in that world is the same as the dead end of 1983. It may look like an inescapable fate, but you absolutely can escape it.
I know. Keiichi taught me that. And even Takano taught me too. Fate was thinner than a goldfish scooping net, and strong enough feelings can reshape the future.
That's right, Rika. That's the spirit. Maybe it was because of your carelessness, but you've been given the chance to atone for it and make it go away. That's a really, really lucky thing.
I know. Normal people would be starting over in their next lives, but I alone got one last chance. I know what that means.
Rika, I want you to somehow find the fragment rejecting me. I'll see if I can figure anything out in this world.
I'll have to make do without any hints. Also, as long as you aren't in this world, if I die here, that's the end, right?
Yes, my power doesn't affect that world right now. So please, Rika, be really careful.
No, I'll never fool around on the road again.
We don't have any hints, but I'm this village's deity, and this village is all I've ever watched over. If this power can interfere with me, then I think the power must be in the village too.
Somewhere in this village. If it has anything to do with you, to be honest, I think it would be in this ritual implement storehouse.
Rika, is there anything in that storehouse that isn't in the usual worlds?
I don't know. I can't tell right away. Are you not literally talking to it right now, Rika? Is it not the marble? Or, crystal ball or whatever. I don't know how big it is. It looked like a marble, but is that not the thing? There's no proof it would be obvious, right?
If it's enough to interfere with me. Rika, you've stepped into places incredibly close to the world of the gods before, so you might be able to sense it.
Another thing to worry about. I don't think anything on this altar, including this crystal ball, has changed at least. But this is a strange crystal ball. It's interesting how, for a mere marble, it's on display in such an important place.
Right now, you're holding the Furude Shrine treasure, the Kamu no Mikoto no Ri. Long ago, when I performed a miracle at the Furude Shrine, I left it there as proof. After such a long time, most of the power inside is gone. But luckily for us, it's the only source of power I have that affects you. If it had more power, or if I could prevail against this, I might have been able to go to the world you're in.
Which means I'll only be able to talk to you with this crystal ball for a limited time.
Yes. Rika, can you hear my voice? From here, your voice sounds like it's slowly fading away.
I get it. It's like a transceiver about to run out of battery power. Alright, I won't contact you unless it's important. That way we could talk for a little bit longer, right?
Probably.
And that's enough. I'll rummage around the storehouse now. It could be hidden anywhere if it's the same size as this crystal ball. And it might not be in the storehouse either. I'm going to need perseverance for this job.
Rika, please do your best. All I can do is stay here and cheer for you. And even the words I can use for that are limited now.
It's fine. Mark my words. I'll open the door to this world and invite you in. I promise we'll go back to that fun world together. So you do your best too. You learn anything that could be a clue, tell me.
I will.
And that's it. I'm going to stop talking now. See you again, Hanyuu.
Oh.
I promise. Once we're back to the last world, I'll fill the refrigerator with cream puffs for you.
Oh, I'll look forward to that promise.
Hanyuu's voice gently vanished, like water seeping into sand. But that didn't mean Hanyuu had vanished. It was kind of like I was talking to Hanyuu on a public phone and my 10 yen ran out. We may have been in different worlds, but we were cooperating, trying to get out of this world and back to the last one. When I thought about it, Hanyuu had always been an ally in my life. In this world, that ally was gone. Maybe that was a fitting punishment for wasting my life by being careless. To get back to the last world, I would pile up as many stones as I needed to. For these were the banks of the river Styx. Nirvana, from my viewpoint, as one who had lost her life in the previous world. But I'll get back. I swear, I'll get back there. Then suddenly, the inside of the storehouse brightened. Someone had just turned on the switch for the naked bulb hanging from the ceiling. And then, with a heavy clank, the door opened. My father appeared there. His face was like a demon's. Ah, that was right. I'd entered the cordoned-off ritual implement storehouse. I only received the right to enter the storehouse when I succeeded them as the head of the Furude family. In other words, in a world with my parents alive, I wasn't allowed to come in here.
Rika, how did you get in here? How many times have I told you never to enter the storehouse?
My father was in a rage, thanks to the property imprinted into one's very genes that made children tremble when their father looked at them with a scary face. I reflexively cringed with fear. He grabbed me by the back of my neck and took me outside.
Huh? By the scruff?
And then I ended up being disciplined, something I'd forgotten for a very long time. My parents being here is such a bother. Just when I thought I'd been lucky that they made it through the year 1981, they're getting in the way of me returning to the final world. In the storehouse, I'd been shouting Hanyuu's name pretty loudly, so he'd probably noticed. I would investigate the storehouse for real tomorrow, but I'd have to take extreme caution so that my father didn't find me. In the middle of the night, unable to sleep face up on my futon because of my rear end swelled up from all the spanking, I bit my pillow and cried again. Then thought back over what I had to do. This was my room. This was my futon. But this wasn't where I was supposed to sleep. The futon I was supposed to go home to was in the small house on the second floor of the renovated warehouse, the one next to Satoko's. But in this world, the youth group was probably still using it as a meeting place, so my futon obviously wouldn't be there. Then, what futon was I supposed to use in this world? Punishment for doing something stupid and careless, bringing the future we all won to nothing. I needed to find what was keeping Hanyuu away so that I could call her here. It would take a lot of effort. For that reason, I needed to build up my energy and get some sleep. Shedding tears was nothing but a waste of time and stamina. I knew that, but until I fell asleep, I wept into my pillow. I'd hoped Satoko would be there when I woke up that morning. I'd hoped this baffling world was just a half-awake dream of mine. So when I awoke, not to a familiar ceiling, but to the one in the Furude main house, I could feel nothing but disappointment. My mind hazy, I recalled the situation I'd been put into. Thanks to my own carelessness, I'd gotten lost in this strange world. Hanyuu's power couldn't reach here, so it would be incredibly difficult to escape. It was like trying to climb up the spider's thread to paradise, but the spider's thread was still there. No matter how thin it was, its presence meant there was still a chance to discover what was blocking Hanyuu's power. And I didn't even know what it looked like. The only possible clue was that Hanyuu was the deity of Hinamizawa, so it was probably in the village somewhere. I picked up the crystal ball, which I'd snuck out of the ritual implement storehouse. The ball gave off a weak and somehow unnatural light. I pressed it to my forehead, and I could sense a faint presence that only I, as a witch, could feel. I was sure that whatever I needed to find, I would get the same feeling from it as this. But again, like the crystal ball, I'd probably have to hold it to my forehead to sense anything. It didn't seem like things would be as simple as wandering about until I felt something. But if it was related to Hanyuu's power like the crystal ball was, it was almost certainly in that storehouse. Unfortunately, the storehouse was a complete mess of everything from ancient torture devices to piles of old documents to mountains of trash I didn't even know how to use. The only place with any semblance of cleanliness was the space around the vessel and the altar. Finding anything, especially an object as small as this crystal ball, would be no simple matter.
Rika, eat your breakfast and hurry on to school.
I heard my mother's voice from the kitchen. The school in this world wasn't the one I went to. If I had the time to go somewhere I didn't belong, then I should be using it to search the storehouse. But there was no proof my search would only take 1 or 2 days. I really hated to say it, but since I didn't even know what it looked like, maybe I needed to prepare myself for the search to take years. If I didn't go to school, Chie, ever conscientious, would call the house to see if I was staying home that day. If that happened, it would cause trouble with both the school and my parents. I couldn't imagine how much time this search would take. If my parents grew suspicious, things would get harder. Slow and steady wins the race, I guess. Although it was frustrating, for weekdays, it would be better to pretend I was going to school like normal. I let out a languid sigh, got up, and decided to eat breakfast. During mealtime, my mother's ramblings about how I was never allowed to go into the ritual storehouse again steadily made the food taste worse. My mother was always insistent and long-winded. I hated this part of her. The elders in the village laughed and said she couldn't help it, since she did it for her only beloved daughter, but to me, she was just a nuisance. Tough love wasn't what I needed at the moment. The only thing I could be thankful for was, maybe, that I didn't have to make breakfast for myself. But I could do it on my own, so I almost would have rather she left it to me. After I was done eating and started getting ready for school, my mother continued to nag me about making it on time. How aggravating. Maybe going to school wasn't so bad. I wouldn't have to see my mother's face for half a day. I thanked her for the food, cleaned my plate and utensils in the sink, and left immediately for school. If everything was going to betray my expectations anyway, I wish class would too. But even in this world, class went the exact same way as the world I knew. I thought I'd escaped that world, and now it was repeating. Thinking that way made me feel even more listless. Normally, I'd distract myself by teasing Satoko, but her seat was far away from mine. She was probably also bored with class. So bored with class, she didn't know what to do with herself. Satoshi, earnestly studying in the next seat over, was constantly trying to get her to focus. Mion seemed to be butting into Reina's business too, but they weren't fooling around. It was strange. It was a strange, though pleasant sight. They were helping one another learn. Actually, they weren't the only pleasant sight. Everyone in the classroom was like that. I felt like I was the only one left out.
Oh no.
I didn't know whether my seat was on its own row because of the odd number of students, or if I'd chosen this seat on purpose in this world, but it felt like my seat was separated from the rest of the classroom. When lunchtime came, I felt even more alienated. My classmates formed groups with friends and took out their food. The club members who would always eat with me weren't here. Satoko was part of a circle of several friends, including her brother. There was no place for me to wedge myself into. Mion and Reina were sitting face to face as they ate. No room for me there either. And nobody asked me if I wanted to eat with them. And they had fun eating their own meals, so this seemed natural, like it was something that happened every day. For a short while, I waited, hoping for Satoko or Mion or Reina to invite me over. After the clock's minute hand moved to 5, and then 10 places, I realized I might even be left behind in eating. and finally gave up and opened up my bento box. Inside were the leftovers of last night's burned Hamburg steak and white rice with nori seaweed that was now sticky, spinach wrapped with gooey nori, and the remains of kinpira with chopped burdock fruit, also burned. I guess I'd forgotten about that. For some reason, my mother overcooked everything. "Summer is dangerous if you don't let the heat in," was a favorite phrase of hers. She would cook steaks until they were rock hard, and even when she made fish, she'd turn half their insides to ash. Even Sadoko was better than that. At least she knew how hot to cook things. And when I learned how to cook from Hanyuu and started to make things better than my mother, she must not have been happy. It tasted terrible too. No presentation either. If Mion decided to have a bento contest and I only had this, I'd end up in last place. But there was no club in this world, so I didn't have to worry about that. Satoko's happy laughter not being directed at me made me feel sad. Suddenly, our eyes met. Did my feelings get through? Satoko burst out of her seat and glared at me. "What are you staring at? If you have something to say, say it!" I don't have anything to say." "Stop it, Satoko. You just happened to look at each other, didn't you?"
"It didn't just happen. She was staring at me this whole time. It was getting gross. Come on!"
Satoko and her friends began whispering amongst themselves while looking at me. I couldn't hear what they said, but I could easily imagine them enjoying themselves. "I'm sorry. I won't stare at you."
"I hope not. You were making my cream croquettes taste worse."
I angled my desk a little so that I couldn't see Satoko and the others. At first, I had called this world's Satoko cold, but it looked like I was mistaken. This world's Satoko either didn't like me, or outright hated me. And the other kids close to my age seemed to have formed a community around her, with no place for me in it. So they all hated me too. The hardened, ash-like steak tasted of salt. Why did I have to feel this sad and lonely when I ate? In all of the other worlds, all of the club members would be enjoying lunch together. Satoko would be there, and Rena, and Mion, and Keiichi. Everyone would be having fun, and spending their break cheerfully and noisily. That was when Reina came over and peered into my bento box.
"Rika-chan, you have steak and spinach for lunch today? That looks good!"
It was clear that Reina had come over to try and comfort my distress, and for some reason that was frustrating, so I didn't want to answer her. When I stayed silent, she held out an octopus-shaped sausage in front of me.
"I'll trade your spinach for my octopus, okay?"
Reina, trying to be nice as I ate lunch alone, hated by my classmates. I just couldn't accept it. I suddenly said I was going to wash my hands, and then left. And in a bathroom stall, I covered my face with toilet paper and cried. The tears soaked through the paper and crinkled it up, but I didn't care. This was fine. It was better if I didn't have friends in this world. I had plenty of friends in the one I needed to return to. There, even Satoko was my irreplaceable best friend, and all of the club members, who would never leave me alone during lunch hour, were waiting for me. Why would I be sad that some Satoko I didn't know was being mean to me in a world I didn't care about? Why would I be... But despite the lies I told myself, I couldn't stop crying for a while. I decided to steel my resolve and wait for school to end. Then I'd run back home, say I was going out to play, and sneak into the ritual implement storehouse again. That was the only way I could get back to my original world. I had to try and do my best for that purpose alone. Okay. I looked into the mirror in the bathroom to see a face red from crying. If Chie saw me like this, things would probably get even more complicated. I washed my face and then spent the rest of lunch break quietly in a corner of the classroom. After school, I literally dashed out of the building. It would be a huge pain if I ended up caught in the rush of the other classmates as they headed out to go play. I think Satoshi called after me, but I ignored him. He was probably just trying to apologize for his sister about what happened during lunch. I didn't care about that. I didn't want to stay in this horrible world a second more than I needed to. I ran full speed back to the house, ignored my mother when she asked, as usual, if I had any homework, and searched for a lantern. Then I told her I was going out to play, and without waiting for a response, burst out of the house. Then I went around the shrine and looked for my father. I saw a note hanging on the assembly hall that said there was a shrine association meeting. I could hear my father's voice amidst the light-hearted chatter. It was the same opportunity I had yesterday. Today I'd have to be careful not to let on that I was inside. After making sure nobody was looking, I climbed up the tree I'd gotten the hang of yesterday. I'd been scared of the height before, but I wasn't afraid any longer, probably because I'd cried my eyes out and resolved myself during lunch. What I really had to be afraid of wasn't heights, or my parents, or the cold-hearted Satoko. It was not being able to return to my original world. The next scariest thing would be losing contact with Hanyuu, I think. In the darkness of the storehouse, I took the crystal ball out of my pocket. Its weak glow seemed a little more energetic than yesterday. Maybe if she rested, a little of her power would come back. Nevertheless, it was still weak. If I wasted it on fruitless conversation, the light might go out entirely. I firmly squashed down the desire to check and make sure I could still call her and turned on the lantern. It was time to go treasure hunting. Was there anything around? Anything only I could feel? Something that felt the same as the crystal ball? Somewhere? I closed my eyes, honed my senses, and hoped. But all I heard were the cries of cicadas. I hadn't expected anything else. It looked like this would be a tough nut to crack. Too optimistic. Ew. Searching the entire storehouse. How much time would that take? I didn't want to imagine it. But I had to do it, or I couldn't go home. I'd do it systematically. Start in the corner and go in order. Without knowing what it looked like, I'd start in the corner and go from there, not even letting water past. And despite all that, I had no proof it was even in here. I felt like it would be easier to just fight Takano and the mountain dogs again. That's kind of crazy.
Poor Rika, I know. She just wants to go home. I don't think it's going to get any weaker. I can hear your voice about as loudly as I could before.
Which means, like always, it'll only get to you weakly. I guess there was no need for us to chat.
No, I think chatting is exactly what you need to do right now, Rika.
Maybe. Thanks. I'll talk now. I'm pretty sure I searched the storehouse as well as I could, but I have nothing. I searched for about a week, but I don't even know what the thing I'm searching for looks like. And even if I did find it, I might have put it down again without realizing.
Oh.
Honestly, this is really hard. If only I knew what it looked like, or had some proof it was in the storehouse. Being locked in here for so long is going to make me go crazy.
I understand. I know it's a very difficult search. I'm doing my best too, to see if I can at least find out what the fragment looks like.
And? Did you find anything out?
Rika, in your world, fragments are interpreted as feelings. When those feelings reside in something, they become fragments.
I understand the logic, but that doesn't give me much of a hint.
Oh. And as for how to return the fragment to this world, I think that it needs to lose its form in that world.
What does that mean? Do I have to break it?
Yes, and completely. If it's lost from the human world, you can send it to the world of the gods.
You know about the law of conservation of matter? It's impossible to destroy something completely.
Well, that's why I'm saying you only need to destroy its form. Understand, Rika? Even in ancient times, people used methods like this to send things to the gods.
I see. Alright. A way ancients sent tributes to the gods. A way to get rid of something from the human world. You're telling me to burn it. Burn it into ash and send it into the sky.
That's right. By burning something to ashes, it loses its form, loses its meaning, and vanishes from the human world.
I see. So I need to burn whatever is housing the fragment. I pray that it's easy to set on fire. If it was a boulder, I'd have to throw it into a blast furnace or something.
Actually, Rika, the fragment might not only be an object. It's possible it could be in a person, too.
I see. Because the fragments are feelings. If Rika has to throw herself into a fire, I am going to have a fit. I am going to lose it. Do not make her do that. She has been through so much. They might not only reside in objects. But Hanyuu, if it was a person, what would I do? You're not telling me to burn them to ash, I'm sure.
The meaning of a human disappears the moment they lose their life.
That would make sense. Corpses aren't people anymore. So if the fragment is residing in a person...
Oh.
Hanyuu, are you saying she should murder? I'd believed until now I'd been searching for an object, but maybe it doesn't even have to be that. I'd have no problem burning an object. But if it wasn't an object but a person... I don't like this. This world. For some reason, only the bad ideas turn out to be true.
I can only pray it doesn't turn out like that.
If only bad ideas turn out to be true, then I could take advantage of that and search there first. If it was a person, they'd be closely connected to Oyashiro-sama, right?
Yes, most likely.
Is it possible that it's me?
No, it isn't. If you were the fragment rejecting me, you wouldn't be able to talk to me right now.
Which means... Next is my father, head priest of the Furude Shrine, and my mother, carrier of the Furude lineage. If it was one of them, I'd just have to kill them, right?
Oh.
My human mortality refused the idea of killing my parents. But that was nothing a world-crossing witch needed to think about. For someone with the true world somewhere else, this was a false world, meaning it was the same as a dream. Murdering someone in a dream was no different from doing it in a delusion or daydream. There was nothing to consider about committing the sin in this world. Hanyuu was making sad ow-ow noises, so I told her how I felt. Stop being such a hypocrite. Would you rather give up on returning to our original world?
Oh.
You're a coward. You're going to force me to dirty my hands while never dirtying yours. Convenient, isn't it? If you could blame it all on one person, nobody else will be marked with sin. I'm the perfect human sacrifice. Don't say that to Hanyuu. She sacrificed so much. You don't know anything, Rika. I know you're mad, but stop. Dramatic, real. I felt those words were a little harsh on Hanyuu. For a short while, she remained silent, not saying anything. But her breathing made it sound like she wanted to say something, but was hesitating. I want to go back to the final world. Rana said this once. I wonder how much we're allowed to struggle in order to be happy. I didn't think there was a limit to that effort. But Keiichi changed that. There's no limit to effort. But you have to talk to a lot of people to get their advice on whether your efforts are misplaced or not. That's why I was talking about it with Hanyuu, the only one who shared my current situation. And Hanyuu said that if the object possessing the fragment was a person, I had to kill them. I would want to avoid that, of course, if there were any other way. But if she said that was the only way, then I wouldn't hesitate. That was all.
I want to go back too.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be praying that the fragment isn't held by a person.
Please do. I will too. I apologize. I was too hard on you. All you could do is look for clues and keep my spirits up so I don't get discouraged. I didn't understand how annoying it must be to not be able to look for the key yourself.
It isn't as hard as it is for you, Rika. The only thing I can do is at least be here to care for you so that your heart doesn't tire out.
These idle chats with you are the most enjoyable thing about this world. It's like I wake up from the nightmare for a few minutes.
Oh.
You see, I sort of understood why she said that chatting could be important. Hanyuu was the only one I could talk to from my original world. If I lose contact with Hanyuu, maybe my very connection to that world would weaken and my memories would blur. And that would simply give birth to a miserable, broken-hearted girl, living a delusion that this world wasn't the one where she belonged. Leave it to me. I swear we'll go back there together. You keep looking around for any clues you can find. If there are any developments on my end, I'll contact you again.
I understand. Rika, hold it together. Go for it. Yay! Remember?
Yay. I couldn't hear Hanyuu anymore. The crystal ball's light had grown weaker than ever, but as long as it had its otherworldly glow, then I could keep believing this wasn't the world I was supposed to live in. Before, I might have shed a tear or two by now, but all the tears I could cry had dried up. I gripped the crystal ball tightly, savoring the cheer Hanyuu had given me. Do your best. Go for it. Yay. I moved over to a spot with a pile of old documents. If it could interfere with Hanyuu, it had to be related to the legends of Oyashiro-sama. So maybe, I thought, a clue would be written in one of the documents in that pile. Maybe even if the thing I searched for wasn't in here, I could find a clue to it instead. I took a few documents from the pile and packed them into the knapsack I brought with me. I could read some, but couldn't understand any of the others. If something important was in one of the indecipherable ones, I would have no way of knowing. But I shouldn't think about that right now. I pulled out the few documents I could read and decided to read them in secret at school and in bed. As I went in and out of the storehouse, the chances of my parents finding out increased. In that sense, this would lower that risk, which made it a little easier for me. Maybe parents did understand their children best and would be the first ones to help them. But that was when they were normal and not a witch like me. If their daughter started babbling about not being from this world, they'd probably tie her down and summon a noisy ambulance. If I were a little more cunning, I could flatter my parents and put the work in to make this world a little more bearable. But the more I thought about this world not being the one I lived in, the more apathetic I felt towards interacting with those who were here. That was probably why it seemed like I was being more and more isolated in class. Of course, maybe you could say that was my own fault. That was the kind of world this was at the moment I arrived. I won't dare let anyone say this is my fault. Of course, not a single person could tell the difference between Rika Furude and me anyway. Who is me? The me that isn't Rika Furude. Who is she? Alright, I think we're gonna save here. My voice be getting tired.